What's up, guys? I hope you're well. Today we are checking out The Ricky Gervais Show, Season 3, Episode 11, Wartime. Ooh, let's get into it, shall we?
For the past few years, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, and Carl Pilkington have been meeting regularly for a series of pointless conversations. This is one of them.
Testing. Is that all right? Hello and welcome to the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And the little round-headed buffoon that is Carl Pilkington.
All right.
All right. Bum, bum, bah.
Well, Carl, you are officially a published author, and a copy will go in the British Library.
What?
Well, they have to take every rubbish. I think it will go in the British Library lavatory with like a collection of like novelty postcards and maybe a Viz compendium. But, you know.
Yeah, so they take everything. Just think of that.
Yeah.
But why do they do this? Why do they think they've got to keep everything? Because we're living in a world now where everything is sort of binnable, and you know we use stuff
Binnable.
for what it is.
Well,
I think you could say that.
Oh,
It's
that's
binnable,
fine. That's
yeah.
fine.
There was a sort of poetry to it, but I think he stumbled across that. I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't got over him saying foodage.
Do you know what I mean, though? That the world's changed, so why is that rule still hanging around when...
Well, it's not a rule. I mean, it's not a rule that, you know, the country's going to, you know, live and die by. It's just that it is seen as a repository for knowledge, for information. And I don't believe any old Joe can wander in there and get one of these books. I think you have to either be a scholar. I think maybe it's open for a brief window for students. But, you know, you can just wander in there and see your own book, Carl. You know,
There's some books that they have to turn the page for you in gloves, so the amino acids.
I'd hate that.
With yours, it won't matter. They just go, it's over there, or they throw it to you.
No, it's just...
Or they slide it along the floor.
They say, oh, I can't give it to you, Carl, because it's propping up this desk.
Yeah. Pretty
They
much.
give it to you and say, put it in the bog when you're finished with it.
It's just that thing of being timed, though. I hate it when people go, oh, have you read this? And then I can't read it properly because they're thinking I'm taking ages here. Do you know what I mean? So I have to scan read it. And they go, oh, it's good, that. And they go, what do you think? And I go, oh, about what? So I hate the fact that someone stood there with gloves on, because that isn't normal, relaxing sort of reading, is it?
But it's not. You don't go in to read the Doomsday Book, let's say, in order to just have a relaxing read. You're going in there to study
There
it.
are certain to say
historically.
they're professors and scholars and scientists and historians. They don't wander in because it's raining and they go, what's a good read?
There's not a man wearing white gloves turning the pages of the latest Jackie Collins.
No, definitely not.
Do you have heat?
Watching your lips move as you read to see if you should turn the next page.
I suppose I shouldn't really feel guilty, because at the end of the day, right, I mean, people always rave about Shakespeare, saying, oh, you know, his work was good. But
Brilliant.
at the same
He'll
time...
probably put that on the book when he brings another one out. He'll put your review on it. Oh, that was good. Carl Pilkington.
But
Oh, that was good. Right.
People will have a go. I'm ready for people having a go, like that Wendy did about me little films I made. You know, their opinion. And she slammed Carl.
no, well, you know, each to their own and that. And you know, if
Animation of
everyone
the
liked
show
the
is so
same
fucking
thing,
good.
I don't know what we'd do. Right?
Sure.
You don't know anything.
So all I'm saying is, everybody raves about Shakespeare when, if you properly looked at what he did, he invented a lot of swearing words,
He did.
right? Effing and jeffing and that. Now, if
That was one of his.
Well, it's Effin' and Jeffin' and Effin' and Jeffin' Part 2.
Yep.
But all I'm
Sequel.
saying is, for some reason, when things are brought out years ago, people say they're good even though they're not, is what I mean. When I was watching that documentary about the real Indiana Jones,
Brilliant.
they dug out some rocks with drawings on, and they were like, oh, don't damage them, don't mark the paint, and it's like, it's rubbish. It was like a stick fella with a yak. And
Right.
now, if that was found now, or if a kid showed me that, I'd go, hey, it's not that good. So what I mean is, because stuff's old stuff gets respect.
But you're not judging it on its aesthetic merits. You're judging it on its historical importance.
I don't think that's fair, though, because when that fella drew that, it wasn't old. He did it when he was knocking about.
No, but you must see the difference between you doing a stick man on a wall with a bit of chalk near your local and a cave painting that they date to 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, so in 10,000 years' time, when they find my story, will it gain more respect then than it is now?
No, less.
But why is it?
Because people will more and more realise what a buffoon you are. The more research we do, the more you expose yourself as an empty, egg-headed moron.
That's a friend speaking right there, Ricky Gervais.
No,
He loves you like a brother.
I just think you've mentioned him before, Steve. This Peeps fella.
Yes.
Has he done anything else apart from a diary? Because now I've done a book and a diary.
That means you're better than Peeps, is what you're thinking,
Well,
isn't it?
I'm not going to say that until I know, but what else did he do?
Well, Peeps wasn't a writer predominantly. I believe he was, like a bureaucrat or something. But he kept a diary which has since become a historical landmark.
And what did he say in it?
Well, it's
Bunch
again
of
more
rubbish.
because it's both well written and it's also an amazing insight
social
into
document
a social
as well.
document. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a social document.
I
of
mean,
that
yours
period.
is a social document, but it sort of revolves around having egg and chips and a cap and seeing a ladybird, which, you know...
But that's today's living. That's
Well,
what I'm
his,
saying.
his describes the Great Fire of London, which is what it's
But
best
we
remembered
haven't had
for.
one of them. If we had one, I'd write it down. I'm only writing what's happening. He was just lucky. He was about in London when that happened.
The thing is, if they read your diary, they'd think, well, nothing happened that year. Nothing important in the world happened that year.
Because your diary doesn't just mention. I mean, okay, yes, it does. It fails to mention any disasters in London because we haven't had any. It doesn't mention any world events. It doesn't mention wars in Iraq,
But I don't
terrorism.
need
It doesn't
to
mention
now.
anything.
But that's all being wrote about anyway. If you're saying there's a museum that's keeping everything, there's loads of other books for that. Who's looking at the fella whose
True.
skulls fell off?
What?
We see. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
A fella's skull has fell off.
What do you mean? His skull has fell off.
It's something to do with circulation.
But what do you mean his skull fell
Well,
off?
it's in the diary.
But how can a skull fall off? Because it's surrounded by tissue and it's got a brain. How can just his skull? How can it detach itself from all the stuff surrounding
He
it?
mislaid
Right.
all his dreams.
But all I'm saying is that's not getting a look in.
No, because it's not significant or probably true.
Carl, you have the same concepts that you worked out and decided that were true at about 10, I think.
I look at life like a
Box
big
of chocolates?
book, like a big book.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Right? And sometimes
The
you get
life of
halfway through it
Carl.
and you go, even though I've been enjoying it, I've had enough. Give us another book.
No. Your metaphor, analogy, whatever you're trying to create there, falls down with "let's have another book."
Yeah.
No. You can either opt out of life or stick with it till the end. You can't go, be someone else now. You can't do that. I know you think you can, and I think in your world you can, you possibly be injected into an old woman's head when you've had enough and you come out a little baby.
What I mean is, at the moment, my life, I'm going to live to 74, 75, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm probably on page, what am I on? A book that's got about 200...
This is painful, Steve. This is really painful. Carry on.
I'm on, I say if my book's got 300 pages in it,
Yeah.
few pictures and that.
It's a picture book. That's the great thing about Carl's life. It's a book for children.
It's a pop-up book, and it just every page he pops in, he goes.
All right.
I'm probably on like page about 170.
Yeah.
He's gonna die at 74. He's reading a book with a few pictures in, with 300 pages, and he's on 170. Go on then.
So, right, if the book was too thick, right, and there was loads more pages
Let me tell you,
left,
this book is way too thick.
If the book was more thick, yeah.
The book could not
Carl's
be thicker.
head
if
is
there was
thick.
loads more pages left, I'd go, I can't be bothered reading on.
Right. Okay,
But
no,
you
let him finish the
But he must
analogy.
have known that when he saw the book. You don't.
Got to finish this analogy,
Right.
otherwise we're going to be here all
Listen,
night.
he must have known how many pages there were when he got the book out of the library.
Yeah, but the way they write books, they paint in pictures more at the beginning, you're going, this is good. And then it gets a bit boring as it goes on, doesn't it?
Okay, well that works. So you're saying that you were
No,
young.
it doesn't work.
much.
Because
Well,
you
no,
just
but-
accepted
no.
that that's what all books are like.
No, but there's a little bit of poetry in that because he's actually saying that when he was young, his whole life was ahead of him. He couldn't wait the whole world, the promise that he was given of this world, and now he's a bit jaded and he's more cynical, and he
Yep.
realises that the world hasn't got as much to offer him as he thought it was. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liar. Actually, Carl, you like sayings, don't you? got a list here of some of the sayings and phrases that Shakespeare made up, really. In a pickle was his.
Yeah.
And we know what in a pickle means.
We know what it means. It's a saying I'd never use. Because when you're in a pickle, it's not something that you would say.
Rarely
No, if you're being
life.
if you're captured and you're being tortured for information,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, and you get access to a phone, you wouldn't call, go, MI5, I'm in a pickle. You'd be screaming, going,
You're taking my teeth now.
While you've been talking about that, I just was looking on the computer at the Pun of the Day website. Here's a couple that you might like. There was a sign on the lawn at a drug rehab centre that said, "Keep off the grass."
Okay. Now if the pun is the lowest form of wit, and let's face it, sarcasm isn't. Sarcasm is up there compared to the pun. Then the drug pun, I think, is one of the lowest of the low. Oh, people who congratulate themselves on getting drug references. Keep off the grass, will you? Grass, get it? Grass. No, you're smoking the grass. Yeah. I think pun should be short for punch him in the mouth.
Idioms are better.
Go on then, what's an idiom? Is that a new word you made up?
No,
As
I
in
I
Carl
know.
Pilkington's a complete idiom.
I found out what it was because I thought, I like them. What are they?
Right.
And it's like little sayings.
Yeah, that's right.
That sum stuff up.
Go on, give us an example of your favourite.
Oh, can I just say one? Talking about sayings, Carl was getting fed up with summer. He was fed up with not getting replies from something. He's having a hard time. And I went, "Oh, the worm has turned." He went, "What?" I went, "The worm has turned." You've
Stupid saying, isn't it?
No, okay. Tell him why you think that's a stupid saying.
Because how do you know when a worm's turned? Of all the creatures that you could flip over and know it's turned, why pick a worm? It's the worst thing they could have picked to express something turning.
But you're turning literally. It means changing, doesn't it? Changing your attitude, a new broom, turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, but
things
then
are going to
use
be
something that
different now, and
changes.
I'm sick of it.
Chameleon.
No, but
Chameleon is a brilliant thing to use for something to change. Chuck that in a sentence.
True, he's not wrong about
nothing
that.
you can link a worm to human life to. You're talking about something it's blind, isn't it? It's blind, it's deaf,
gay.
it's got no features.
Why is he having such a go at a worm?
Just because it's a weird thing to use. Something that its arse does more than its head.
That could be said of you, Carl, to be fair.
Oh, chimpanzee's that? He's gone and written it down again.
I thought we were getting monkey news.
Few
Oh my god, the
excerpts of
diary!
Carl's
It's back!
diary.
Yes!
Went home and looked up Freud on the internet. Didn't find him that interesting, so looked at some other philosophers instead. Socrates, Aristotle. Lao Tzu from years ago came up with some good stuff. One, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Not
True.
entirely true. To lead people, walk behind them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
Yep.
Did that.
Maybe this is why people are at the start line spectating at the Commonwealth Games.
Well, no, it's just that I've never understood why in Olympics and stuff like that, if you're going to watch, don't stand around the start line, go to the end where you see the winner. But because of that saying, it actually makes sense. It's like, well, every step starts with a step or whatever.
Say it again.
Every race, you've got to start with a step.
Yeah.
If you want to stay at the start line, do.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying, if you're into, I wouldn't watch a race, right?
Okay.
But all I'm saying is,
Right.
if I was to watch a race,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hang about the start line because.
Well, you just said you would.
What did I?
Yeah, you said that's the place to start because every race starts with a step.
No, but I wouldn't normally when I was on holiday.
Yeah.
Suzanne said there's a race going on down the road.
Yeah.
I'd go, well, let's go, keep going down the road and stand at the finish line.
Okay, but now what have you
according to
thought?
Lazoo,
Yeah.
I'd say, well, hang on a minute. Every race starts with a single step.
Yeah.
How many people around the start line? Is there more room there? She goes, yeah. I'll go, let's go there then. It's less busy.
Right. And what would you see there then?
I'd see people starting the race, but I wouldn't be that impressed with them because I'd go, well, I don't know if any of these are any good.
So would you start at the start or the end then?
If it was down to me, I'd just probably stay at the finish line.
Okay. So you wouldn't want to see the first step then. So what do you think
really.
of Lazoo now then?
I preferred the leading people from behind.
Okay, and what would you do to lead someone now then?
Well, if you're behind, you don't have to take responsibility, do you? You can go, well, I didn't send you where you went there.
That's not really leading them, though, is it?
Yeah, because I've made them think. I've gone, they go, oh, I've just walked into a big hole. I'd go, oh, should have been looking where you're going. I haven't led them in that hole, but they've learnt a lesson. They won't go in a hole again.
Wow, Carl.
That was one of the greatest conversations
Wow.
I've ever been a part of. I mean, that was
Holy
incredible.
smokes.
Never mind Aristotle and Socrates. That was incredible, That was incredible, Carl.
Wow.
One of the key catchphrases, if you like, from the war, Carl, was, of course, keep the home fires burning.
Is that like saying you're away, but don't worry, when you come home, the house is warm?
Pretty much.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Never forget where you're from. We're
Yeah.
remembering
We're
you.
here,
Yep.
waiting for you.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't say what it means. So there's you know, risking your life, and you're getting a letter from home saying we've got the heating on. Again, working hard, paying the bills, they've got the heating blaring. Put your coat on. Start panicking, we're keeping the home fires burning. What? I didn't know. What do you mean, what fire? When have we had that in? I thought we had central heating. Who's she got in? Who's this bloke who's moved in, changed the heating system? It's all extra hassle. Do you know, this is why it's best not hearing from people.
Go on.
I was
Brilliant,
in the jungle,
Bill.
wasn't
Yeah.
I? Right? For this programme. Suzanne.
Just should explain that Carl wasn't on manoeuvres. We sent Carl around the world for a programme.
Well, hang on, though. I want to hear about the fact he was in the jungle and he didn't want to hear anything from home because...
No, on a lot of the trips, I had a phone now and again, so I could call Suzanne. When I was in the jungle, I was out of contact for like 5 days. Nothing. Didn't know what was going on where. Right?
Right.
I get out of the jungle. I call Suzanne up. Everything all right? Yeah. What bills have we got? And then I said, how was it? And she said, it was reassuring. It was all right. And it's reassuring that if you died, it'd be all right.
What?
That was from Suzanne.
What do you mean?
Because she sort of, it was like I was dead for 5 days. She said things weren't that bad. I still got stuff sorted out. It's reassuring.
She said what? She said you called her up after 5
God, I
days
love
of being
that
in the
woman.
jungle,
She's awesome.
eating grubs
Actually,
and
you
having
know,
things to climb up your knob.
I can survive
surviving.
without you. I
There's
don't
me,
need
the
you.
first phone call I get. I put the phone on. I'm going to call Suzanne, let her know I'm all right.
Sorry, and you could get the phone calls in the jungle, but you didn't want to. What do you mean you turned the phone? I thought you meant you were...
No, it was off because there's no signal.
You got out of the jungle.
you got out
I
of
got out of the jungle,
Right.
put the phone on,
Yeah.
thinking, right, I'll call Suzanne, let her know I'm all right. I've been to Ellen back here. Call her up, everything all right. What's it been like? I said, that's the longest we've ever gone, isn't it? I don't think I've ever gone 24 hours without talking to her for 17 years. Suddenly, there's a week when I'm not talking to her.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, it started off weird, but it's reassuring that if you were dead, I can handle it.
I get what she's saying.
Because she said, I sorted everything out still. I could handle it if you weren't here.
What offended you most?
Well, just
The
like...
fact that you did that you want her to be dependent on you, or the fact that you realise you make no difference at all in her life.
Well, it's a bit annoying, isn't it? They forget, don't they? The bills weren't as piling up as much as they normally do. That's the only thing they ever get through the door. When there's a postal strike, carry on. I'm not interested. You're only bringing bills to the door anyway. Carry on striking. There wasn't that much post. There wasn't that many bills to sort out. There wasn't problems with the boiler. She's forgetting all this. So I'd like to go back in the jungle, just as the boiler's the flame started to flicker, and about to go out. Let's see you then. That's what I'd say to any soldiers listening to this before you leave home.
Yeah.
Just leave everything. Break a few things, don't pay the bills, and then go. And they'll miss you more.
Yeah. Well, that's great
Commissioner.
advice to people overseas. Let me just reiterate
Right?
that.
Jeez, Carl.
Next time, when you come home, have a great time with your wife and kids. See your mum and dad and your family. But then, when you've just got to go back into active service, just smash the place and shit everywhere. Thanks.
Wow.
Carl, what's your thoughts on poetry?
I've never really been a fan of it.
There's a surprise.
It's sold in a bad light. It's a bit bit gay, isn't it? I mean, it
Okay.
depends what sort you're talking about, because maybe there's poetry out there that I haven't heard.
There's some poetry gayer than others.
Yeah.
War poetry can't be gay, can it? That was
I haven't
people,
heard. Go on.
people fighting in the trenches and can't be gay. They weren't gay. They were writing to their sweetheart. I don't know his name. Might have been a bloke. I don't know. But
So was it a sort of a what sort of poem was it? Was it sort of a limerick, sort of a
no,
like,
it was. Well, there's famous ones, Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon, and they're very moving. They're about, what usually happens is that they talk about why are we here. This is, we've been sold a lie here.
Yeah.
And they really started seeing war in a different light from their point of view in the trenches. Famously, some of them died soon after the.
But I
they'd
prefer
written the poem.
a proper letter. No sort of crypticness. That's the problem with
Right.
poems.
Okay,
You
so
read
you'd
it and-
have been disappointed to get Dolce et Decorum Est through the post, would you? You'd have just said, "What are you trying to say, mate? What's the weather like? When you're coming home? Did you get my socks?"
Well, yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
life is a bit like that, and it's like, say what you mean.
Right. Well, then you have just wiped all art off the face of the earth. If you literally just say what you mean.
Yep.
No, I'm just saying in a letter. Say if I was a woman and my fella was fighting in a war.
Right. What's your fella's name?
Harry,
Okay, so Harry, that's right. So when were you married?
about 1935.
1935. So you've been married about 4 years.
Yeah.
Harry, why don't you go off? Oh, you're a woman, aren't you? You don't. Okay. So what did you see in Harry? Why did you like Harry? Was he
He just was like funny.
butch?
He wasn't that butch, but that
No.
didn't matter back then, did it? In the war,
No. And
he took everyone.
But what did you say when Harry was said to you?
Well, I thought it was coming because a lot of our friends
Right.
ended up having
Did you
to
just
go
hug him and say don't go or something?
No point, because that would have just made it tough for him. So
Just land the
what's the
door.
point? Just go with it.
But if he
I
had
cried
written,
after he went.
you cried after he went.
That's what you do, innit? You wouldn't do it in front of him. He's got to go to battle.
Okay, so your man goes off to battle.
Right. Then I get a letter from the Colonel saying, "Oh, bit of bad news. Harry's dead." Now I get a letter in the post.
He said what he meant, didn't he? In the
Well, yeah, and they would do, wouldn't they? They wouldn't
Yeah.
fanny around saying, "Oh, he was on the warpath and the cloud went dark." I go, "What? Just tell me what happened. I don't want a weather forecast."
he got shot up the arse and the bullet came out his head.
Right.
Yep.
Now, the Colonel, he would just tell me the basics. Now, because he sent his by
Telegram.
telegram, they sent a telegram.
Hmm.
The letter I get from Harry has been stamped, so I get it late.
Oh, okay.
So I get a letter from Harry after he's died.
Yeah.
Right, and you know he's dead.
I know he's dead, so I get
Right.
this letter with his handwriting on. I'm
Yeah.
devastated because I was just getting over his death.
Yeah.
It's all brought back to me when this letter drops through the post.
Well, yeah, 3
Right.
days and you're pretty much over it.
It's Harry's
Yeah.
handwriting.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's this?
What's
now
he
I
written?
open it,
Yeah.
and instead of saying things are bad here, socks are damp, everything's grim, it's cold, I'm sick of it. There's a poem. It wouldn't feel like it was from Harry.
Well,
Because it's not in his words. Poems are never in the person's words.
But didn't you know Harry was a poet when you married him and made love to him
No,
that
I only
night?
picked it up because other people were doing it. Something to do in the trenches.
But when he carried you over the threshold, Carl, and he laid you down and gently kissed you, didn't he say any? Didn't he ever show you?
He must have whispered some sweet nothings into
No,
your
it wasn't
spherical
like
red
that.
head.
It wasn't
No,
like that. Straight
no.
to the point. It was like, get your knickers off.
I can't believe Ricky fell off his chair.
That's one of the weirdest fucking scenarios I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Why was the telegram coming before the letter? So specific. It wasn't like Harry. The fuck's Harry? Oh God.
Oh, man. Oh, poor Carl. Oh, man. Another great episode. I enjoyed that a lot. That was a really good one. I know there's 2 more left. 2 more episodes left. 12 and 13 of Series 3. Still not sure what I'm going to record and put out on Tuesdays going forward after the Ricky Gervais show. But if you guys have any ideas of what you want me to watch, let me know in the comments. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Stay safe And don't forget to wash your hands. Bye.